President Muhammadu Buhari, you wanted it, you got it. That's power. What are you going to do with it? 2019 to 2023, PMI political arena sets an agenda. To our viewers across the globe, this is Platform Media International Political Arena. Welcome. Tonight, of course, you all know that Muhammadu Buhari, President of Nigeria, has got a renewed mandate from 2019 to 2023. And that's 4 years, second tenure. Tonight, PMI, in our studios, we are setting an agenda for President Muhammadu Buhari in all facets of the economy, or all facets of life: security, defense, economy, education, infrastructure, sports, and of course, the most powerful aspect, power. They got power renewed in the election. And tonight, we are asking, what are you going to do with it? I have in the studio my very good friend, Obi Nziadibe. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Joe.
Yes. Buhari got another mandate. What is he going to do with it for the next 4 years? Most people argue that the 4 years he got from 2015 to 2019 was almost like a waste. He used that to say he locked up the economy for people not to steal, but of course we found that people also stole. He couldn't police everything. But now that he has been able to shut off the economy from looters, according to him, there should be an agenda for success so that Nigerians will breathe a sigh of relief. Obi, did he start well by announcing last week to say Nigerians are in for a tough time? How long can Nigerians go with tough times? What else can they take? What have they not taken that they were going to take in the next 4 years?
Well, to some extent, to get Nigeria moving, there has to be tough measures, but there have to be tough measures with a human heart. There has to be a goal for the tough measures. And we want tough measures that would lead to the revitalization of the economy, to strengthen the fight against corruption, to stop Boko Haram in its track, and to provide electricity to Nigerians. Those are if that's what it calls tough measures, then I'm all for it.
Okay, thank you for mentioning that. I was talking to a Nigerian across one time. He said, Nigerians are not too greedy. They're not asking for too much. He mentioned two aspects or two things that government can provide for Nigerians, and they will be eternally grateful to that leader. I said, what is that? He said, roads and power. In your opinion, is that what Nigerians actually really want, desire, or really need?
Well, we do want a whole lot of things, but what I think he is saying is that government should focus on at least those two aspects of the economy. The provision of electricity, which it is referring to as power, will give the Nigerian economy a boost. The average Nigerian is not looking for employment. They are industrious, they are creative. They are creative, and if they have electricity, they would find employment for themselves. They would be able to put food on the table for their families. If there is room for them to go from one point to the other in safety, then the economy will also expand in that way. So
people watching us across the globe, you just mentioned power. Obi, since Obasanjo era, I'm told, and I have it on the record, that Obasanjo spent 60 billion naira on power. Nothing came out. What is in power that they cannot provide? Obi, you and I were living here. You take power for granted. Why is it that Nigerians cannot, despite the funds that have been wasted in that sector, why is it that they cannot provide that for Nigerians? You just said, if you get power, electricity, Nigerians have capable of surviving, of doing things on their own. Why is it now impossible for government to do that?
It is impossible because the government has not identified what the problem is. The problem is not in pumping money into providing power. The problem is in restructuring the nation so that each component part of the nation will fend for itself, generate power in their own areas and put it on the national grid for every Nigerian to use. The federal structure, as it is, makes it impossible for Nigerians to perform optimally.
Okay, you just mentioned that. I think Obasanjo, was it Obasanjo or Jonathan who said NEPA, what we call NEPA, National Electricity Power Authority, was gone.
Yes.
And they departmentalized or localized electricity supply by having zones having their own electricity generating companies.
Yes.
But that's not helping matters. Because I speak to you, my brother has a house in Benin. They cannot till now get what you call the meter that is the electricity bill. All they do is for the company to send them crazy bill every month, and they have been denied having an electricity meter ever since. So what are we talking about then? That's under a government. Obi, you are stunned.
Yes, I am stunned. Yes, it is true that the power distribution system was decentralized. But these decentralizations is not working. It wasn't done properly. They don't have funds to operate. They don't have the management structure. They don't have the money to buy the power that is being generated and to be able to distribute it. And this was something that was handed over to political patrons. Yes, so it wouldn't work that way.
Okay. Obi, you and I live in North America. You saw the rough terrain through which roads go through. Yeah. And there can never be flood on the highways. Nigeria, most of Nigerian terrain is flat. And it's, roads can easily be built on that. But we don't have roads. And government keep pumping money into that sector. Obi, we are talking about pumping money. Every sector, every year we have massive amount of money pumped into different sectors, but there's something to show for it. And we have a government whose primary policy is to check corruption. So where is that money disappearing to? Is it, yeah.
The government is not checking corruption. If you belong to the APC and you are corrupt, you are regarded as a saint. You only corrupt when you are in the opposition party. So the Nigerian government system is not working, and it's going to take a while for it to work. It's not working.
You just said that. You just said that to me, and people are criticizing Obasanjo. Obasanjo had a measure of success in that aspect because under Obasanjo, most people who dip hands in government coffers were prosecuted, and governors under his own political party were impeached and sent out. His minister, Sunday Afolabi, who was a senior prefect in school, was convicted. His IG,
Tafa
Balogun, was, you understand? So after Obasanjo, the FCC has become a toothless bulldog.
Yes.
Under Jonathan, it wasn't. Under Buhari, who came under the platform of integrity, nothing happening. So discussing Nigerian problems is like discussing, when you're discussing Nigerian problem with the economy, we are discussing the difference between egg and the hen. You don't know which one comes first, right? Okay, look at education. My cousin is a professor in university. As a matter of fact, he's an ASU representative. He tells me that it's a pitiable sight in Nigerian universities that even chalk to write in school. When you mention chalk to write in school, you and I will feel bad because modern days people don't use chalk anymore.
Yeah, yes.
Right? Yes. It's what you call PowerPoint. So most Nigerian universities don't have libraries, functional libraries. They don't have computer. And that's why you see ASU is always going on strike. And why are they going on strike is a kind of disagreement between them and the government. And to also say is that the professors in Nigerian university are not even asking for their pay rise. It's asking the government to develop infrastructure in Nigerian universities. And that's where they are arguing.
Well, again, I don't think the professors are right. The Nigerian government does not have the resources, the economic resources to
fund the university,
to fund the education the way you and I had it in the 80s. Those days are gone forever. The future of university and college education in Nigeria lies in the hands of the private sector or the missionary churches or the Pentecostal churches. The government cannot anymore, any longer, provide the resources that would create universities that are as good as we had in the past. Never. It will never happen again. It's now left for the teachers in the university system to come up with an innovative idea to provide quality education. Maybe at a cost.
To do some research.
Yes.
Perhaps the university should be
self-funding, seek for grants from outside Nigeria. But to fold their hands and hope that the government would bring the money would not work.
You just mentioned something now which is very touchy to Nigerians I've been talking to, that education should be privatized. Is that are you advocating that?
Education is an expensive enterprise. You know, there is nowhere. I've spent a good number of years in the United Kingdom before coming to Canada. Education is not free, because when you get a good education, you earn income for the rest of your life. So you have to pay for it. You know, so what you can argue is that Nigerians need employment to be able to pay for education. But to expect free education, to expect that the peanuts people pay to go to federal universities in Nigeria should fund is a pipe dream. It cannot work.
Okay, we're setting an agenda for Buhari, defense or security. Why has it become an issue that Boko Haram cannot be obliterated? They are occupying a local government in the northeastern part of Nigeria, and Nigerian government keep fighting Boko Haram. They have not been completely.
I don't think Nigerian government is fighting Boko Haram with a sincere heart. You cannot be feeding your enemy and claiming to be fighting your enemy. Buhari cannot be giving them the funds to buy military hardware, you know, and provide logistics, while denying the Nigerian army of that same support and expecting the Nigerian army to fight Boko Haram.
So, if you accuse him of feeding or funding, what is that meant to achieve, though?
Well. The strategy is simple: create soft targets that Boko Haram can take as hostages, maybe secondary school students, and then go pay them money to release these hostages, and political political credit for doing so. But the counter effect of that is Boko Haram becomes stronger. They buy more weapons. They fuel their cars, they attack Nigerian military camps, and they overcome Nigerian military camps and seize equipment from the Nigerian army, and are encouraged to fight more, taking more Nigerian territory. So that's the strategy he is using. It hasn't worked in the past. We don't expect it to work. I expect him to retire the Chief of Army Staff, the head of the Navy, the head of the Air Force, the Chief of Defense Staff. These people are due for retirement because in the last 4 years, they have not achieved anything in the fight against terrorism.
But he's the head. He's superintending this Chief of Staff, Chief of Naval. And if their service is interested, he doesn't want to retire them.
Well, if his interest is for them to win significant portions of the Nigerian territory, then let him keep returning them. But Nigerians, as of the next 4 years, expect him to defeat Boko Haram and get them out of our territory.
The other aspect that is dear to my heart is sports. Because, of course, that's the only thing that unites Nigerians.
Yes.
If there's a soccer match in Nigeria, everybody will claim to be Nigerians. But if all that has happened, we begin to identify where we come from. Has Buhari given enough to sports?
I think there was sufficient funding for sports in the last 4 years. It's now left for the sports administrators to use it effectively to achieve the goals that they have set for themselves. You know.
Okay. So are you hopeful that Buhari will stick to this agenda or do well in the next 4 years?
Well, in the last 4 years, he wasn't a sincere leader. You know, he wasn't fair to all Nigerians. He demonstrated bias towards people from some ethnic groups, and we expect him to be a president who would be fair-minded in his appointments, in his allocation of resources, in his treatment of corrupt Nigerians. We expect him to bring to trial people like Ojus Okalo and Akpabio, who stole so much money but have moved from PDP to APC. At the same time, we expect him to prosecute people in PDP who stole funds, and we expect people to be tried and sent to jail.
So what it means is that you expect some big fishes in the net of EFCC?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Will Buhari, it is claimed that a leopard does not change its skin. 1985, the core reason why he was overthrown was because he was very rigid. He's still very rigid.
He is still very rigid.
So
yes.
He has not changed.
No, he hasn't changed.
Even with his age?
Yes.
Okay. Obi, thank you very much. Nigerians across the globe and our friends of Nigerians, Platform Media International, we're trying to set an agenda for President Muhammadu Buhari as his tenure has been renewed for another 4 years in his area that he has failed, whether there is any hope, any ray of hope, and the areas that he has advocated that his core policy objectives, whether he will give that some muzzle and see whether Nigerians will breathe a sigh of relief. We all started by saying that he didn't give any hint of that by advocating that Nigerians should brace up for tough times ahead. And that's not a good sign, Obi, right? Well, we hope this will sit well with Nigerians. Obi, thank you for coming to the program again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm sincerely very grateful that you coming here, because you give every good direction to our discussions here. Keep coming to. Thank you very much. And our producer behind the camera, I want to say thank you. And our listeners across the globe, we want to sincerely thank you. Meet us and read us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Keep tuning on to Platform Media International Political Arena. I'm yours sincerely, Joe Ehizode, signing off and saying have a good night rest. Bye-bye.